Today is February 8th, 2023. It is currently 7:37 p.m. and I'm making this video to cover something that I'm working on right now, which is compiling a list of all of my videos. I'm going to proceed with basically working on something here, and I'll explain it as I go along. So I have 4 different channels, and not all of my video content I want to be grouped or categorized in the same way. Some of the videos that I have are cyber attacks. Others are basically me going around being a comedian and running my mouth, or I probably shouldn't call it running my mouth so much as talking about anecdotal type stuff. And then there's also videos of me doing something educational, where is it? Like this right here. Greetings, my name is Michael Cook. I'm an application developer, design artist, and system engineer. In this video, I will demonstrate how to build a graphical user interface as well as how to configure and use it in PowerShell. First, the code behind uses the networking component of the PowerShell module Fighting Entropy, link in the description. Second, the GUI we will be building utilizes XAML, which is short for Extensible Application Markup Language. So we need an integrated development environment in order to build it. The IDE that I will be using to demonstrate the XAML building process is Visual Studio 2019, though you may use whatever IDE you are most comfortable with. So I'm not going to cover the whole entire video, and you just saw me responding to people, kind of taking a look at it. I think that this video does a really good job of breaking down key moments. I should probably do that a little bit more. This particular video covers how to write XAML in Visual Studio. I'm not going to cover that in this particular video. I just wanted to show that I have videos that are educational, and then I also have videos that are not necessarily educational, but it's Saratoga County Sheriff's Office and the New York State Police. So, these guys violated my constitutional rights the day before I recorded this, and then they were in the middle of attempting to do that again this day, and then they saw me across the street recording them in a video, and that's why they took off, right? So I have a number of videos that are evidence, not just me farting around or whatever. And that's why I started coming up with this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this, right? So if I want to have everything within a portfolio, what I want to do is this, right? That class right there, it'll create my portfolio for me. It'd be really nice. I'm sure there is an API that I can use to be able to extract all the information that I need from YouTube, but I'm trying to do this the old-fashioned way for now, for the time being. So let me zoom in here. I'm actually going to minimize that, and I'm going to open this, right? This particular monitor doesn't run at 1080p, which sucks. The computer can certainly run 1080p, but I don't have a 1080p monitor with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this object here. So if I go to control.channel and I use a format table, right? So those are the actual like channel names, right? And then there's the display name. Well, what I want to do is kind of like change this right here, actually. So the first channel is the main channel that I've been putting a lot of my work on, which I'm gonna. I didn't used to put like all my work in it, but you know, the channel has a mixture of things that I'm exhibiting, as well as trying to like teach people or whatever, which covers a large number of topics. You know, camera machinist from the New York State Police being an asshole. Sergeant Bosco from the New York State Police being an asshole. And then things like the God mode cursor. You know, 2 incidents of that in this year. And intellectual property theft, like whatever. I'm not gonna cover all of that, but you know, some of this stuff I want to have like in my portfolio, right? One way that I could run through all of these, right, is to here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out, and that, and that, and that, and that, and then take that out, and that. I have a lot of videos, and not every video is going to like go all that well, but what I want to do is say, for all these videos here, I'm going to run through basically the same command. At the tail end of all that, boom, there we go. Well, I kind of like, I want to get rid of like the times actually. But, you know, the reason why I'm making the video is because I want to show that process. So, let me explain what's going on here. The name of the video is going to be right there, and then the date's going to be there, the index is going to be right there. The index doesn't really matter, but, you know, it helps to have the index there explicitly stated. And then all of these are like the YouTube links. So if I wanted to go like around town and bypass the multiple forms of censorship that I've had to deal with, both on like Facebook and generally speaking, what I would do is I would print like a list that goes to like one link that I could put on a post-it note, which is like, what are the dimensions of a post-it note? Three inches by 5 inches. Oh yeah, if I want, oh, maybe it's 3 inches by 3 inches. So if I want to have like a single URL that allows anybody to go to any video that I've had, right? And I want to contain it all in a place where people can see that I do a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like on this page, on my work page, and here's where I have a bunch of videos already. But I don't have like any thumbnails or anything there, and this is only a limited selection of the videos that I have, and these aren't like all on the same channel either. They go into different channels that I have. I did start a channel that was going to be dedicated just strictly for educational type stuff, but I want to finish the module that I've been working on, and there's a lot of components to it, and it just keeps becoming more and more elaborate. But that's beside the point. What I'm going to do right here is I am going to explain like each of these things. So for each one of these videos here, you got the index, the date, which I'm going to change that actually. Alright, so that works. And that's going to put the date in that format, but it's also going to give it the leading zeros. So the capital M is for the month, the lowercase d's are for the day, and the 4 y's are for the thing. Basically, if you use this right here, it'll put it in that format. There's other ways to do this, but I'm not going to cover that right now. Anyway, I've converted it to string format. I could also do that for this. Right, if I go into number 0 and I say length, oh look at that, but then to string. See the difference? So to someone who's been doing this for a while, they'll understand what's going on, but for anybody that hasn't been doing this for a while, they're not going to understand it at all. And you know, I'm going to leave that the way it is for now, but what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run through this again. Allow me to explain this a little bit more. So the index, that is automatically populated, which I'll cover that in a moment. And then the date, today's date, and then it's going to put it into that string format that I showed you here, right here. The name is obviously the name of the video, and then the length. So we got the length there too. The idea is basically if I want to say video.length, so if I want to like add all those, how would I do it? Well, I'll tell you. For each of those, let me do this. Just gonna go down to here. Right. So channel 0 video. So for each object, it's gonna get me the length string. But what I really want to do is, I really want the length of them all. Alright, so what I'm going to do is for each item in in the video, channel 0.video. I'm going to say is length equals length plus item dot length. Oh wow, I've got an entire full day, 16 hours, 20 minutes, and 59 seconds for that particular channel. And I could also do this for, I probably should put a thing up here, like, actually, here's what I could do. So it achieves the result that I'm looking for. Another way that the way that I was initially going to do it was like this, right? So let me leave it the way it was. All right, and then I say length. That's what I was going to do, which that's fine. But instead of adding that to the video array, and then getting the last item of that array by using that, and then getting its length, I can cast it to a variable and then use the variable. But I mean, it's really like 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It's just an extra line there. There are some instances where you might want to take an approach like this. Versus this one. The reason being, this is a rather simple object. There's really not a whole lot of complication to it. But sometimes when you get into building objects that are this complicated, where you're going to have a whole bunch of methods. Oh, hold on. Is it? Well, no, that's not the main one. Yeah, this is not what I'm looking for. I think this is it. Yeah, VM object. Okay, so this one is basically a combination of the multiple classes up above, right? And it's not a simple object at all. It has a lot of methods. It's got a lot of things going on in it, and there's a number of these methods. See how complex this object is? It's a rather large class, though it is doing a lot of work. It is doing a hell of a lot of work. But it's not the most complicated class that I've ever written. The point being, this particular complicated object requires having other classes above it. So like at the very tail end of this, these class definitions is this VM controller, and what this does is it's a class meant to control all of the above classes. And what it does is allows each class to be, called from like a method, which allows the object to be more complicated. And there's this song that I used to sing when I was in elementary school. Leg bone is connected to the hip bone is connected to the backbone is connected to the neck bone. You got a whole bunch of bones that are connected to each other, right? So they each need to be shaped correctly, and they need to be like connected, and it probably seems counterintuitive to have all this stuff like connecting each thing internally, but it's necessary if you want to be able to like cast this first variable here, and then be able to use like a number of methods, and then to keep like an object in memory. I could go over all that, but I'm not going to go over that right now. What I really want to talk about is what I'm working on right here. So anyway, I'm going to get rid of the approach number 2. And now I'm going to talk about, let's see. I'm actually going to run this again. Right. So I really want the length property be there. Probably not. I think I'm gonna move it around. And really it comes down to just moving it from one place to another right here. And that's it. I think what I'm gonna do is move the count. I don't have to move any of that. It's going to happen regardless. It's rather flat the way that's going to happen. But this isn't. This has to be done in a certain order. But I want the property view shown here. Anyway, I'm going to run this again. Now, why don't I add some statuses? So if I add, this will say right post added name. Display name. And then
just like Americans focus on world culture, like China has their own stuff. Only when you turn on the TV, and really that one is heavily influenced by the media. Because when 10 years ago China had a better relationship, nothing bad happening. But nowadays,
so now it's giving me like a progress indicator for all that.
way more widespread in China. So my parents always some bad news from here because
But I think I kind of want to move this around a little bit.
they're holding the view towards like politics. But regular Americans, like if you are really big fan of
Or, you know what I could do is just do this. So now I'm getting like some feedback from there just by adding each of those things. And then when I do this, it's going to have all the length of each video being like, you know, congruent. But anyway, that's for that one. And now we want to like add stuff for my other channel. So the technique that I'm using right there, where I like I select multiple lines, is basically if I have something selected right there, there's multiple ways I can use that. I can go to selection, column selection mode, and then like if I click that line and I hold shift, and then I left click there, and there I go. But there's another way to do that. I'm going to turn that off, and then I click there with the left click. I hold shift, and I hit the middle mouse button on this line right there, and it does the same thing. And what it does is it allows you to do like this. So I want to add a quotation mark, and then I want to hit the end key to go to the end of the line, and then I hit the double quotes, and then boom, there it is. And then like if I want to make an array, and I hit the comma button, and then I just edit the last line. So it's going to add all those to that collection there. But what I'm doing right now really isn't necessarily like I'm trying to teach. I'm just showing a technique. So for each of those items, it's going to show right there. But what if I want to like add like an index or something? So say collection, add, we'll close it, and then we'll say quotation mark 0, right? And then I use the F in that string interpolation, and then what we're gonna say is collection dot count, and then the null variable. And then we'll say collection. Boom. See how it's putting the number there before the string. If I want to make it a class or whatever, class, list item, UN 32 for index, string, content, list item, index, string, content. So this is the property declaration, this is the parameter declaration, and then this is the assignment area. This index equals index. And then it merges the property with the parameter. This content equals content, right? And then for final touches, we'll say string to string. And we want the string to be this content, right? So now we're going to do this. We run that, right? And now, or what we could do is this actually. see. So now we've got the properties for each of those. Or let's say, move this down here, run through this again. So there's that way. You can do it that way. Or you could say x equals 0. And then we won't even do that at all. We won't have that there. We'll just say x. And after that, it's going to say x plus plus. Right, so collection equals that. Boom. See what I'm doing? Anyway, I think this place I'm at is closed now, so I gotta go. Okay, I'm continuing this recording from the one that I started last night. It is currently 2:32 p.m. on Thursday, February 9th, 2023. The reason why I'm continuing the recording that I was making last night is number one, I have a higher definition monitor here, and number two, I've done a number of tweaks. I've made a number of tweaks to the thing I was working on, and I also made it a function, more than just a class. But I'm going to go ahead and cover like all this stuff that I changed, right? Because anyone watching the video only won't notice all the changes that I made if I don't go over them. So the largest changes is this, right? Everything from here up, it's like, I don't know, 145 lines or so, and it produces a lot of this, like all this stuff here and all that, and I'll cover it in a second. Or I'll cover it right now. Well, in a second, because what I wanted to say is that I have this sectioned off. So normally in a function, you don't want to include a whole bunch of like static information, right? So like anybody should be able to put in their name and their company right there, and then cast it to a variable, and then be able to do the same sort of thing that I'm doing here to showcase their work, if they wanted to do that. So I've changed the parameters around quite a bit, and excuse me. When I go to upload this or publish it, I will add a new entry for this particular video. I will at some point go through and like rename some of these, because some of the names of these files they're not consistent, or maybe they're redundant. In some cases, I do have the same video like uploaded twice, and I didn't realize that right there. But I think that's like a human error, not like necessarily like me doing that intentionally for more views or whatever, right? And so I also I have all of these items specifically for me in the second section, and then also I was starting to build like a way to reproduce all this stuff for a markdown, right? All this stuff is a markdown file which produces this. So that's really what I was trying to capitalize on, was this. So I use a fair amount of design elements, and some stuff might I am going to wind up changing some of the stuff, but right now I just wanted to show, like, okay, if I hover over a link, then it'll show the YouTube link, right? And if I hover over this, it'll show the YouTube channel, and also information related to that. Go ahead and read it. At any rate, I'm going to cover this specifically in the input and output, right? So all this stuff's going to be the markdown, which I can get rid of that. I really don't even need this, but you know, why don't I show it off? So this little function right here is part of the module, and there's also this. See, I'm not going to go over more of that. There's a couple of other methods, but I'm not going to cover that right now. What I really wanted to do is just kind of cover the two things that I already did here. So what I'm going to do is hit the control, right? And what I'm also going to do, I'm actually going to nullify the object. Right, so, oh man, I just lost all that work that I did. Oh no, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'll tell you. I'll do this slowly. Just probably make it so that that returns some type of information. Right, and then oh whoa, look at that. That returns something pretty cool. So the name and the email address that is associated with the channel. Right, so anybody can type https youtube.com/@ that. I think that's how it works. Well, I don't even have to think that. I just hover over this, and there it is. Yeah, that's accurate. But I'm not going to cover that like to the umpteenth power here. So let's say format table. It's going to go over it across, and then it's got no time on there, right? But if I add all of these, now let's try it. Let's see what it says now. Whoa. So it's got all the channels, and then it's got all that time there. And then if I add the other channels, then boom. Look at all that. So say format table for that. Then I can get like a loadout of more specific information, and let's say that I want to go to format table. Let's say I want the first channel 0, and then so I'm seeing the same information, but once I type in video, whoa, look at that. So now it's like putting everything into a readable format for me. But, you know, the markdown file isn't going to be quite, it's not going to have the same amount of information on it. Well, it's going to have the same amount of information, but the link is hidden within the name. And then, like, what I was going to do is just make it so that, you know, it produces all of the content here. Right, I was thinking of like making a script that like makes all of this, so that if I ever needed to like cobble it together again, then I could. But at the same time, I don't think that's totally necessary. You know, you can get away with automating a lot of stuff to a large extent, but you know, you want to go like wicked far with it, because sometimes automating stuff to the nth degree causes additional problems to happen that aren't scoped for, and you sort of want to avoid that. But anyway, I'm going to cancel that, and why don't I cover some of this stuff up here. So video item, channel type, channel item, portfolio. So I changed a fair amount of things from last night when I started recording this. In fact, why don't I do that? right? I changed the length to time because it was having a conflict with the actual .NET method. One rule of thumb is you probably want to stay away from like using like say object equals new object PS custom object. So now there is an object there. It looks null, but if you do this, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really have any properties. It does know that it's a custom object. But, yeah, you could also do this. That achieves the same result. Or even this. See, so let's say string. I think that's what I wanted to do before. Yeah, no, surprisingly, that's not a very complex object, is it? I'll also do a PS object. When we do that. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. So, I'm going to go back to this. So as you can see, a string has got a heck of a lot more functionality already out of the gate. It's a system string. Than really like what I was using. But, you know, what's the length? Oh, there's a length there. Oh no. What about count? Is count there? Count might not actually be there. But let's say it's an array. It has string as a string there. Object. Get type. Yeah, see, now it sees it's an object. It really should not be doing that unless when I try this. Why don't I add another one? I'm trying to look for the count. What the heck? All right. I think it's just a matter of all right, so it's returning like that. So it sees 3 items in the array, even though this is not the same type of item as those two. It's still seeing it as an array. Basically, what I was looking for was the method for that, but I have just determined that it isn't even like a part of the member. It's always like there, but like so is length. So count and length get like confused quite a bit. Count is 3, and then length 3. Sometimes what'll happen is an array will use the count, or use the length to determine the count. So count and length are not the same thing. Sometimes they are, but they're not the same thing. So what I mean is this: if I say, oh, object is string 0, right? So now object dot length is 9, count. See how it's different now? So they're not the same thing. And the reason being is because now it's not an array. But no, I'm getting lost in a single particular thing here when I want to cover something else here. Index date time URL name, right? So that's why I changed the length property to time, because the length, even though that's the perfect description for the length of the video, I wanted to say that it's basically overriding, like by having a member there, it overrides the default thing, and it'll cause conflicts. So you don't want that. Name it something different than the default, and this isn't something that's intuitive either. This takes a while to figure out because, as you can see, count isn't even in this entire thing. Do I use all of those methods? No, but sometimes I will use some of these. If I say string, or object is string, and I say pad left, say 100, and I want it to be a hyphen. Oh wow, cool, look at that. Or we can say that, and then there we go. Or I could say, I could change it to that, or that. Or you can even do this. See how many different ways I can do the same thing? The lesson that I'm trying to illuminate here is that just because you can use a particular strategy in a particular instance, it doesn't mean that that strategy is always going to produce that same output. And that is the lesson that I'm getting at here, is that all of these things that I'm showing off, they're alternate methods, but you know, it's not intuitive. This right here is string interpolation, and then this right here is just concatenation. Here, let's put that like here, right? Say object, or obj equals string 0. And and there's also you do this. which is really sort of the same thing as concatenation, but there is a bit of a difference because this right here sees it as an array, and then when you do this, look at that. So all three of these methods do sort of the same thing. And then there's like the string. There's another method that I don't really use all that much. There's concat. It's basically the same thing as joining. Oh, in order to pull that up, you type in whatever the class or type it is, you do the double colon, and then you hold control and then press space, and then that brings this up. You can also, there's a way to do shift tab. Tab will just cycle through them all, in a single way. Then also, you can also do this with the dot. You can say, oh, display all 131 possibilities. Oh wow, look at all that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that because the reason why I changed those properties is so that it would make more sense when people looked at this. You know, how much time are all the videos that I have? Well, I have a lot of videos that I haven't selected or put into this, but you know, they're there. A lot of these are there. I have a lot of videos that I've not included in this, and those videos are here. And sometimes they're very creative names, like why William Oak is stupid. You know, believe it or not, like this actually got attention, and so did that. Sometimes it comes down to the name of a video that gets the right attention, but sometimes it's not really explainable. Like some videos take right off, and then other videos they don't. Side point, let's put all that away, and then so xenon type is basically, if I say the first one's going to, this is basically like saying that equals 0, this equals 1, this equals 2, this equals 3, right? And then the way I like to do stuff is so that everything lines up, right? And then I think this is actually going to error out. Well, maybe not. But in C#, you would want to use the semicolons. In PowerShell, you don't have to do that. Yeah, you don't have to have the numbers there at all. You just continue to keep on going. But anyway, let's see. Channel item. So I can go ahead and take some of that off. And portfolio. So last night I had it so that it was just by default putting in my information, but the way that I set it up is so that it could, you know, put anyone else's name in there, right? And so let's cover that. And I'll come up with another one. C3. New YouTube portfolio. Name Joe Schmo. Company. What's the name of that company that Microsoft uses all the time? I can't remember the name of it. It's I'm having a brain fart right here. I don't know. I know I'll remember it later on, but there's a company that there's a company name that they use. It's not Microsoft. It's meant for like dummy company names, and I don't know why. Like I can't think of it right now, but anyway, some company, right? Joe Schmo, some company, and then the time is 0, the total 0, no channels, and say ctrl.add. We're gonna say Joe Schmo sweatshop of doom. And it's gonna be J Schmo 01357924 at gmail.com. And then the channel name will be the same thing. We'll say that like YouTube was feeling really cool and they decided to give him that. Right? Boom, there it is. Joe Schmo Sweatshop of Doom. J Schmo at J Schmo 01357924 at gmail.com. J Schmo. I think that's a pretty catchy name, right? And then let's say he's got like a couple videos, you know. He doesn't have a lot, he's just got a couple. And we'll put today's date, time, now, 2 string. There it is. It's today's date. And we'll save the video. Well, we have to put this in manually. I have made it so that you can put in like that, and then we'll add the leading zeros. But I want all of this to line up perfectly. You notice how like the first 3 variables or parameters in each of those, they're all lined up. I like that because that means that things are lined up. And that, you know, the name is about the most different thing about all of these, even though the content of each of these videos is different. The name was throwing everything out of order, and you know, this makes it a lot easier to look for errors or whatever, right? Or not errors, but yeah, inconsistencies. When you have things lined up, you can see whether something's consistent or not. And then also see how like now it's saying 2/9/2023. It's not adding the leading 0 in front of the 2. It's not adding a leading 0 in front of the 9. And it's using hyphens. But if I wanted to change it to what's seen here, then you just alter the formula. You can't use like M and then D and then I think Y. But you know, then you're not going to get consistency. At least in this case, it's going to force all of the answers to be of that width. Same thing with the length or time. Same thing with the YouTube link. So each of these is a unique hash value, which is like base 64. And then also, let's see. We're gonna finish Joe Schmo's thing here. Say that it's 15 minutes. Oh, Contoso, that's it. There's another one too, but I can't remember it. What did I do with the thing? I think I got rid of it, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't. All right, cool. So I want it to be, what was it across? Oh, that's not the one I wanted, is it? Yeah, it is. So each of these is, what, it's like 12? 11. I didn't realize it was 11. Alright, so 11. Let's say I want 10. Well, we'll just go with 1 for now. Oh, yeah, that's right. And the characters that YouTube uses don't contain the plus, but that's alright. I'm just demonstrating what this thing is able to do. So there we go. We got Joe Schmo. He's only got 1 video though, so that means, you know, he needs to make more content if he wants that number to be higher anyway. And then, you know, that's the channel. Since there's only 1 video in it, it says 1 right there. So if we go into the video property, and then we can see that. If we want to see it in the table format, table. Just like that. And then, you know, let's say we'll put this into the browser and see if it comes back with something. It's probably not going to come back with something. Or maybe it will. Yeah, no. But anyway, that's okay. I didn't expect that to, like, bring anything back. Well, yeah, as you can see, there you go. And then someone else will be able to do what I did in order to, like, show off, like, their work too. And then, you know, holy crap. Let me discuss how this works, right? So what I'm using right here is a method called a class factory within a function, right? This right here is this right here, and then this right here like enumerates all of the channels that I have, right? And then each channel is going to be able to for this, it's going to be fed into this. It's going to have it's going to get the index from this, which is why enum types are actually pretty useful. And then, you know, when it initializes itself, it's going to set the time span to 0. It's going to set the videos, all the things to empty and 0. And then, you know, anytime that it adds a particular video, it's going to add it to the array, and then it's going to look for the very last video, and it's going to get the time on it, and then it's going to get the current time, and then it's just going to add it together. Because this is a time span object, and then so is this. So if you add two different time span objects together, I don't know if I covered this in the video last night, but we'll say 0, 0, 15, 0, 0, right? And then time span 0, 0, 15, 0, 0. There it is. So that's how it works. And you know, let's say that I wanted it to be like, let's say I want the ETA. ETA will be date time now plus time span 15 minutes. So in 15 minutes it'll be 3:22 p.m. It's pretty cool, huh? The reason that these objects are able to work like that is because they're very similar. You know, they're similar in the sense that they're time objects, but adding a time span to a date time tells you that, okay, I want in 15 minutes, then it'll be then, right? So anyway, that's how that property works. And then, you know, I got the portfolio, the name, the company, and then time, total, and channel. So anytime that it adds a channel, it's going to, let's say I do this, CTRL, right? And I say channel item, channel 1, cool guy 5000 at gmail.com, and the ID is just going to be cool guy 5000. And you see, it didn't add that because what it's doing is it's acting as a factory. But if I were to alter it so that it would say add, then it actually adds it. See that? So this idea is the class factory. This allows me to, if I'm like trying to diagnose how the program is working or not working or debug it or whatever, having everything come back as an object allows me to export the control to control. And so I could say get 0, and then that gets me the channel, or get 1, that gets me that channel, right? And then when I do that, I can cast it to a variable, just like I did right here, right? Say channel equals control get 1 channel, and then you know, this will have its own methods. If you do this incorrectly and it comes back null, that means that either there's two or more scenarios here. If it says if you put in that right there and it comes back like with nothing, that can mean one of two things or more. The first thing that it could mean is that there's a property with that same name as that method, and that's going to cause a problem, because then it'll say, oh, I don't know what that is, dude. You don't want to do that, so steer clear of that. But other than that, You know, what if I wanted to turn this into an object as well? See, now what I'm doing is I am displacing it, so like if I wanted to start a new timer or whatever, then I would just do that. Oh, yeah, that's right. What the heck? It's there. I'm not sure why it's not working, but I think it probably has something to do with just something that I changed, and I don't want to change any of this right now. Not like anything's gonna break if I like save to the file or whatever, but at some point I might have other ideas that I'll implement. And at this juncture, I think that's going to do it for today. If you liked what you saw, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.